In only his second IHRA Top Fuel drag race last year, Paul Romine suffered this devastating crash, but built a new car and secured a sponsor to complete the season and win the IHRA Top Fuel World Championship. During the same season, Gary Scelzi outdistanced his competition in NHRA drag racing to win the NHRA Top Fuel World Championship. Two separate world champions. Now the two will meet to decide who is the real undisputed world champion.
Yes, indeed. 867, 165 miles an hour. Right now, Bill Burkhardt. I'm right behind you, man. How you doing? Trying to get the coverage over here. How you doing? Hi there. How you doing? Good. Somewhere near the top, high Cleveland, Ohio, the Montana 5-century. This a big roller alongside the man from Mansfield, Ohio, on 1967 Chevy, Michael. The other side, how about a 6 Chevy Camaro alongside, ready to go. Make the call for even 12. Follow this round of qualifying. Remember, the R&R Auto Body Super 16 round number 2 is slated to come our way at 4:30. And Haley elected to do the first. I believe, the 17th annual Harper Pavilion in Norwalk, Ohio, on June 19th and 20th. Right now by a couple of hundred for the second. Here we go. Kansas, Dietrich, Grover, Hughes, Johnson.
Welcome, everyone, to the legendary Norwalk Raceway Park, just off the shores of Lake Erie in Norwalk, Ohio, for our Precision Gear Car Quest Undisputed Top Fuel World Championship. Ted Jones here trackside with you. Brett Kepner's in the pits, and we have alcohol funny cars on the line right now. Qualifying Mark Thomas in the far lane, Tony Bogolo in the near lane. Mark Thomas with the lead gets there first. We'll take a break from the alcohol funny car action on the quarter mile to move down into the top fuel pit area. To be specific, the 1997 Winston NHRA Top Fuel Champion pit area of Alan Johnson's car, driven by Gary Scelzi. NHRA World Champion. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means he's a champion in NHRA competition in his world of NHRA drag racing. Likewise, Paul Romine is the IHRA World Champion, the champion over in IHRA. What would happen if both of them met to determine, like in boxing, an undisputed world championship match race? Well, that's exactly what's going to happen here today on this special Speed World coverage. Hi again, everyone. I'm Ted Jones, and you'll be seeing these two top fuel dragsters meet for one round of match racing action. In addition to that match racing action, we have Shirley Muldowney, the fastest woman ever in the history of the IHRA, against Kristen Powell, the fastest woman ever in the history of NHRA. In addition to that, these alcohol funny cars are racing, but a different style. Brett Kepner will explain more about that a little later, but right now, let's get back to the action on the track. And that action is that qualifying we spoke of earlier. Here comes John Foster from Davenport, Iowa. His competition will be Herb Rogers, the Canadian, with that beautifully turned out 1997 Mustang. Gorgeous weather on hand here today, 82 degrees, a little high on the humidity, but the skies are clear, no rain in sight anywhere. Second pair to go in our funny car qualifying with UDRA. Rogers is going to lay down a pass. 6:15, number one. Let's catch up with Brett Kepner, who has more on these funny cars.
Well, Ted, earlier you mentioned that multi-time funny car world champion Mark Thomas was here at Norwalk, but this isn't an IHRA national event. A lot of people may not be familiar with those four letters, but it is one of the oldest groups in drag racing. The United Drag Racers Association was formed in the late 1963 by the drivers and owners of professional category machines so that they might have a voice in what was then a budding pro element in the sport. Nowadays, the United Drag Racers Association is a unique entity in all of drag racing in that it promotes its own events. In fact, its drivers race for their own world championships in a variety of classes, including unlimited pro stock, supercharged dragster, and as we're seeing tonight, supercharged funny cars. Now, these cars are pretty much unrestricted. We don't have to worry about those maximum cubic inch rules or minimum weights in this particular type of drag racing. But UDRA racing is unusual in that the drivers receive one and only one qualifying run, followed by a four-car qualified field and eliminations. Now, that means that in UDRA racing, you never, ever get off the throttle. You always drive it to the finish line under power, and that's what makes their brand of racing so exciting. And by the way, this is a part of some 20 different events this year that will determine a world champion based on a point system.
All right, Brett, we're ready to continue that qualifying. As Brett just explained, only four guys, so they're really racing the clock and not each other. It will be Dave Birch in the far lane, Dan Crownhart in the near lane out of Sterling, Illinois. 97 Camaro, Birch with a 96 Firebird. Wow, look at Crownhart, 6:39. He moves solidly into the field. He has a shot at being one of the top four. Out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, here comes the 1995 Dodge Daytona Mark Poisner, and you're looking inside the car right there of Dave Karsten. While they're burning out and lining up, let's go back and take a look at the most previous run. Look at Dave Birch sideways off the starting line. It's amazing that he turned to 680. Look how close he came to that center marker, which would have voided the timeout. Meanwhile, Karsten and Poisner are ready to go. Dave Karsten leaves before the tree is even activated, so he'll get no elapsed time. However, Mark Poisner is on a pass. The Hoosier turns a 6:31, 218 miles per hour. That's good for the number 3 qualifying position. Here comes Joe Camella out of Parma, Ohio. That's just outside of Cleveland. His competition will be Kevin Lennon from Maryville, Indiana, a 1996 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Good green light start this time. Give the advantage right there to Camella from Parma, Ohio. Camella, 6:32. That's good for the number 4 qualifying position. One more pair remaining, burning out right now. That's Michael Phillips from Bedford Heights, Ohio. His competitor in the quarter pounder will be John Hart from Hicksville, Ohio. As we watch Phillips backing up in those two hot, sticky tracks of rubber he just laid down during the burnout. So critical here. The number to beat, 6:32. Hart with a 90 Daytona, Phillips with a 92 Grand Prix, John Hart a 47, Michael Phillips in the 7th. So the top 4 will be Herb Rogers with that 6:15 against Joe Camella. Mark Thomas will face Mark Poisner when they pair up a little later in the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever in Norwalk Raceway Park, in the Summit Lane, the reigning NHRA Top Fuel World Champion, please give a Norwalk welcome to Mr. Gary Selzy.
have our Precision Gear Undisputed Top Fuel Championship presented by CarQuest later in the show. Right now we have a thing called Super 16. With more on that, here's Brett Kepner.
Well, if you ever wondered what those supercharged Aldards and top dragster and top sportsman cars from IHRA drag racing do on their weekends off of national events, believe me, they keep on racing. Now, this car is a part of what Norwalk Raceway Park calls their Super 16, and it's kind of a simple qualifying format, but it gets a little confusing as you go on. It's an open 8-car field for both open-bodied cars, that's Aldards and dragsters, and full-bodied passenger cars. Each 8-car field, however, is not independent. In the opening round of eliminations for the Super 16, you will see the number 1 open-bodied qualifier run against the number 8 full-bodied qualifier, and vice versa. The number 1 door slammer runs the number 8 open class car. So what you get a chance to see is nothing but 6 and 7 second door cars versus dragsters and Aldards until we come down to a winner.
It's a really neat deal. Here's the way they qualified the full-body cars. Jimmy Dietrich, the number 1 qualifier, and with the dragsters and Aldards, Chuck Hofer picked up the number 1 spot. Now, we have gone through the first round of competition. We're in the quarterfinals. Believe it or not, the Dave Trappoletti and Bob Safranek are the only 2 open-body cars remaining. The other 6 are full-body cars. Here are 2 of those, Bill Huey and Mike Gunther. Bill Huey out of Allison Park with an 89 Camaro. Gunther, a regular top sportsman competitor with a 692 O's, picks up the win, runs a 726 on a 727. Would have been a breakout, but Huey kicked on the red light for a foul start. Let's take a look at it in replay. Watch Huey on the left side of your screen. You see the red light shining. Pick the wheels right up out of those infrared beams. Our next pair will be Dave Romer, the top sportsman competitor, against Joe Ballock out of Wyandotte, Michigan. 90 Beretta and a 95 Camaro give the win to Romer. Dialed a 690, ran a 694, 187 miles per hour. Meanwhile, down in the Top Fuel pits, preparing for that undisputed Top Fuel World Championship, Alan Johnson talking to Ron Tobler, Shirley Muldowney's crew chief. And over in the Romine pits, Paul is buckling everything up. We'll have that match race a little bit later on in the program. Right now, our next pair are ready to go in the quarterfinal round of Super 16. Jim Dietrich, who is driving the former Stu Evans Motorsports car, will go against Mike Lockwood's 1988 Corvette. Dietrich with a foul start gives the automatic win to Lockwood, a 51 on a 49 dial. And our last pair coming up right now, Bob Safranek from Avon Lake, Ohio, will be taking on Dave Trappoletti from Greensburg, Pennsylvania. Meanwhile, let's check down in the Top Fuel pits once again with Brett Kepner, who will tell us about another special match race.
The thrash you see is just as intense as that you'll find at any national championship event of anybody's sanction. But in fact, this is not a national championship event. As Ron Tobler works on Shirley Muldowney's Action Racing Collectibles Top Fuel dragster, he's getting ready for what earns him a living, a match race. Now granted, this could be the single most important drag racing match race in recent history, but it still remains the classic example of what makes the drag racing sport go round. It also is an example of a whole other world of drag racing activity outside of the sphere of corporate involvement. Match racing is indeed what made drag racing a spectator sport. Well, the concept of match racing, or putting a pair of competitors head-to-head, it can be traced all the way back to Roman times and gladiators in the Colosseum. Drag racing's match racing indeed is what brought the spectator out to the quarter mile back in the mid-1950s, when it wasn't unusual for any racetrack promoter to pit 2 local favorites head-to-head to find out who was toughest. Well, through the 1960s, match racing indeed made drag racing. Back when there were only a handful of national championship events, it was the Top Fuel dragsters, then the supercharged funny cars, then the pro stockers, and the wild outlaw factory experimental cars that indeed made drag racing a household name. Now, without those match races, we never would have determined the legendary status of people like Ronnie Sox or Big Daddy Don Garlitz, or even people like Shirley Muldowney, because let's face it, that's where she earned her keep. But the interesting aspect of match racing in the 1990s is the fact that it still exists at all. Now, even though people like Gary Scelzi and Kristen Powell literally have no time for match races because of the 23-race NHRA Winston schedule, it's other competitors like Shirley Muldowney who indeed make a solid living going to smaller tracks and racing one other competitor on a heads-up basis. So with Kristen Powell's total and complete inexperience at match racing, this is rumored to be her first ever. Shirley Muldowney demands an absolute total upper hand in this particular match race because she knows exactly what to do every step of the way.
I agree with that 1,000%. Brett, we'll have that match race a little later on the program. Right now, the finals right here in our quarterfinal round of the Super 16. Dave Trapletti will pick up the win. Bob Safranek turned on the foul line. Trapletti, a 7:15 on an 18 dial-in. He goes into the semifinals. Coming up next, Alcohol Funny Car, the Frantic Four. Stay tuned.
By the Lions Club and grab yourself a cold, refreshing Bud or Bud Light. Ever race fans, nothing beats a Bud and a friendly here and this. And again, we have made the call for the R&R Auto Body Super 16 to the staging lane. R&R Auto Body Super 16. We need you to the staging lane. Yep. And Craig Adams. Folks, look at the scoreboard. And at the time, 69-61. Breakout, but it doesn't matter. Time.
Back up on the drag strip, ready to go with our UDRA Alcohol Funny Car semifinal competition. There's Joe Camella from Parma, Ohio with that 96 Firebird, the number 3 qualifier. A look at the starter here at Norwalk Park. Yes, that's right, folks. He wears a tuxedo. Bill Bader, ever the showman. Camella's opponent will be Herb Rogers from Canada, the 1997 Mustang, the number 1 qualifier. Running in the low 6s. I don't know if anybody can crank out a 5. Give it to Herb Rogers, almost into the guardrail. 609, 229 miles per hour. Our next pair will be Mark Poisner and Mark Thomas, the 4-time IHRA world champion with an ethanol-powered car. Thomas, easy win, 614, 228 miles per hour. That sets up a great final. Meanwhile, down in the Top Fuel pits, Kristen Powell's crew busy at work on the Reebok Top Fuel dragster, preparing to run Shirley Muldowney. We'll have that later on in the program. Right now, Super 16 semifinals, Dave Romer against Mike Lockwood. Romer, the IHRA Top Sportsman competitor. Lockwood off to a good start with that 88 Corvette, but not good enough. Romer drove around him 695 on a 695. We check into the Top Fuel pits. Paul Romine's crew thrashing, trying to find more horsepower for their match race. And we're ready for the other semifinal run. Dave Trapletti against Mike Gunther. Gunther with a 96 Camaro 692 O's against Trapletti's 532 Big Block Chevrolet. Trapletti prevails 715 on a 714. Gunther ran a 24 on a 20. When we come back, we'll be ready for the fastest ladies in drag racing. Stay with us. Back in Norwalk, Ohio, you're watching Precision Gear's Undisputed Top Fuel Championship presented by CarQuest. Ted Jones here with you. Brett Kepner down in the pit area, and we're ready to go into our final action with the funny cars. This is Mark Thomas, the ethanol-powered car, 4-time IHRA world champion. It's a 1998 Dodge Avenger. His competitor right there, Herb Rogers, the Canadian, with that 97 Mustang. The number 1 and 2 qualifiers will meet, as they should, here for the championship in UDRA Alcohol Funny Car competition. Good green light start. Almost heads up right off the Christmas tree. It's going to be horsepower time. Mark Thomas, 603, 228 miles per hour.
Of all the drivers here at Norwalk Raceway Park, certainly Shirley Muldowney needs the least detailed introduction. Even the most passing drag racing fan knows the name. And indeed, the 3-time world champion moniker that goes with it. And that's just in NHRA competition. Shirley's drag racing career started at the wheel of a street-legal 60s Corvette back in Syracuse, New York in the earliest days of the sport. But she eventually progressed to, believe it or not, a twin-engined supercharged gas dragster. That led the way to Nitro Funny Cars, where she first won an IHRA national event in 1971. She then licensed to drive Top Fuel dragsters in 1973, and the rest, as they say, is true drag racing history. Even though she currently derives that income strictly from match races and makes only limited national event appearances on either trail, Shirley Muldowney is still one of the most cunning of all Top Fuel drivers and can win on literally any surface. Kristen Powell's drag racing career may have been short so far, but believe me when I tell you, she has made progress that some professional drivers fail to make in 30 years. Kristen Powell's driving started in professional drag racing at the wheel of an injected nitro-burning dragster owned by her father, who, by the way, has a pretty serious drag racing history himself. Casey Powell ran a series of top fuel dragsters and nitro funny cars through the early 1970s on the eastern seaboard. But he retired to create the Sequent Computer Company. And when he amassed enough funds to go drag racing on a more serious level, he destined Kristen for top fuel racing from the very first time she went down the quarter mile. Now with one of the largest single sponsors in all of motorsports, Kristen Powell has already recorded some exceptional lapse times in 1998, including a series of 4.6-second runs only a week before this event.
Shirley Muldowney represents the IHRA. She has the fastest speed ever turned in top fuel by a female racer in IHRA competition. Kristen Powell likewise in NHRA competition. We asked Shirley about this race this evening.
Now, I should point out that this is a match race, therefore you can run a gear ratio, as you do, that is not legal in NHRA racing.
That's right, and we should all be able to run what we... It keeps it interesting. They're all good cars here tonight, and they're all good drivers.
How much different is this car compared to the machine that ran 4 consecutive 460s only 5 days ago?
Actually, I think this car might be better. It's not as tired. It has a little bit of new technology on it. It's better seated for me, so hopefully it'll be better than the last car and run 450s.
There are the matchups. Shirley Muldowney, third in IHRA points. Kristen Powell, the rookie, but very fast in NHRA competition. Good green light start. Problems for Powell. Up in smoke. Muldowney likewise. Muldowney will drift across the finish line first at 103.
And believe me, I want that belt, and I believe that we should do something like this, the IHRA World Champ against the NHRA World Champ, and I think it's great for the fans, but I'm going to tell you, I want the belt.
And as Dave Romer burns out for that Super 16 final, let's check in once again with Gary Scelzi.
Now, you know Clayton Harrison, you know Paul Romine, and they don't do anything backing down. So you have to be prepared for them to actually hit the number.
Well, we're trying to run 65, and if they can run better than that, then he's going to get the belt. But hopefully we can run 65, but we're not going down without a fight.
Dave Trapletti will be taking on Dave Romer in the final. The dial-in 695 and 714. First off the starting line, Dave Romer with an excellent lead. Here comes Dave Trapletti. Dave Romer keeps the lead to pick up the win. Let's check in with Paul Romine in his pits.
Gary Scelzi a minute ago said, period, he wants the belt.
Well, so what? I mean, I want the belt, and I'm going to get the belt.
You know, the belt is really a unique concept. I mean, let's face it, that's kind of like uniting all the boxing federations together. And
My wife, Barbara, got for me the neatest trophy case after the 97 season because we got some trophies. And that belt would look perfect in my trophy case. Barbara, I'm going to bring this baby home to you.
We'll find out in just a few moments. Over in the far lane, the powerful CarQuest dragster of Paul Romine burns out the Winston-sponsored machine of Alan Johnson, driven by Gary Scelzi, burns out in the near lane. Scelzi came in all the way from California to win this championship. Scelzi had to lift right off the line briefly. Scelzi clicks it off. Paul Romine, 5 seconds flat. He is the undisputed world champion. Let's go to top end with Brett Kepner.
Was that fun? Was that fun? We got to do this every year. Woo!
5 flat 281 on fire at the finish line. You weren't going to live for anything.
I know it, and Clayton's going to kick my behind. I'm telling you. He was after me the last time because I was peddling it. Look at it, it's on fire. Scelzi, you're the smart one. Jeez. I don't care. I want the belt.
Congratulations, you're the undefeated world champion.
Ain't this a hoot?
Man.
Is that sportsmanship? You got to hand it to
I'll tell you
him.
what, it's
He won,
fun racing
man.
these
He
guys,
won.
you know?
Team Winston, maybe we can do this again next year. We can win the Winston
That's
championship.
okay. That's it. That's it. All right, Gary. Got the belt. Barbara, I'm bringing the belt home.
All right, Paul. And as we join Paul in the starting line for the winner's reward, that'll be a wrap for the Undisputed World Championship. Ted Jones here for Brett Kepner. So long, everyone.
our way of wishing you a very happy Memorial Day from your family here in Norwalk Raceway Park. And Gary, come here. Gary, amazing. You guys did a heck of a job. I want a rematch. Well, what was that? See, this is what you did. Listen, you guys have had an incredible run, and it had a good night, Gary.
Yeah, it was a great night. You fans out there, I want to thank you because you guys are the best yet.
Well, Gary, does that mean we may be fortunate enough to get you back here sometime?
Whenever you want. I'll be here a day early.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, a true champion. How about a round of applause for Gary Selzy? Paul, you got the belt, my friend.
I told you, I got this belt. We were kidding.
And 5-0, good. Hey, you got her now.
Hey, it's no different. You know, we still hold the track record. Who cares? You know, we got the belt, we got the track record. What else? And we got the women. Remember, this is the little trophy case.
All right. Paul, anything else you want to say?
Well, you know, this is Memorial Day weekend, and I'd like for everybody to remember what Memorial Day is all about, because there's a lot of people that gave their lives for us to be here drag racing here tonight, so always remember that. And also, I'm Mike Gary. Thanks a lot to all the great fans out here. We appreciate it, and your support is what makes us keep coming back. So thanks a lot.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Paul, congratulations on a job well done.
I can't say that I've had a better experience drag racing.
Well, I'll tell you what, you definitely were a big part of what happened here tonight, and you get to go do IndyCar tomorrow. I mean, the ultimate motorsports experience.
Well, thank you. Hopefully it won't rain and our team will be able to, win the race, and we're just going to have fun tomorrow, too.
Christian, you've got a busy schedule ahead of you in 1998 on the tour.
Well, first off, I have to do my finals next week. That's what comes first. Then we're going to Chicago. We're going to Columbus after that. And lots of the races, we're only missing 3 more in the NHRA schedule.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you ever get close to Norwalk, Ohio, you stop and say hello.
Thank you so much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Christian Paul. Great job. Well, folks, all of these drivers will be making their way back into the pit area. Stop by, say hi. They'll be here to sign autographs. Shirley is over talking to fans along the fence, and she is truly... And I understand that Gary Selzy and company still have plenty of T-shirts, so stop by and pick one of those up from Team Winston. I won't even charge you for that little burp.
Hey, well, thank you. You know, because I already paid you.